Okay, Baruch Mabayim. We're about to start the shir. I want to remind the shir is L'schus, the Rafur Shlema of Mayin Amuna Bas Chanaleya, which Baruch Hashem B'Shat Tova this week actually came home from the hospital. Still is in need of our Torah learning and tefillos and celebrating. But Limud Torah works. In the case of Mayin Amuna and in the case of what it says Nayim Yom, that it's an Agia Beisa, B'nei Beisa, the whole Mishpacha L'Deire Deiris. So, Limud Torah B'chol Yom. So, I want to just preface to this year that, like a disclaimer, I didn't thoroughly go through all Mefarshei Rashi to check. I have some shilas in Rashi, and I try to use the Mahalach the Rebbe guided us as to what Rashi set out to do with his Pirush, and help us understand the Mahalach Rashi is taking throughout the stories of Chazal. So, our Parsha begins with Toldos Yitzchak ben Avram, the story of the children, Yaakov, Esav, Amorim, Parsha. And the Parsha takes a break and tells us Avram hoidli des Yitzchak, which the Pashta Pshat as Rashi brings, after his name was Avram, he was able to give birth to Yitzchak. And it describes Yitzchak's infertility, and then the pregnancy, Batelach Lidrash Hashem, and already then she saw V'yomer Hashem law through Shem Va'iver that Shnei Goyim B'vitnech, they're going to go in two different directions, Shnei Lo'im Me'achim Paredu, and they're going to come at the expense of one another. And, yeah. And then, and this is what we're going to focus on, is how it actually played out. We're going to look at a specific period in the time from when Esav was born until Esav sold the Pchira. It's not many psukim. Okay, it's from Pasuk Chafhei, Chavdal Chafhei, through the end of the Perek, through Lamed Daled. We're talking about 10 psukim. But a fascinating story that L'chura sheds more questions on Yaakov than on Esav. Interestingly enough. Okay? So the Torah tells us, Vayetza Rishon Admoini Kuloi. The first one came out completely red. Zokt Rashi. Mamish, it was a Simon Shu Yeshefich Damim. Why does Rashi have to say that? Is this every Gingy supposed to take offense to this? What's das as a klal gadol? And the pasuk continues describing kulei kadera seir, like a felt of pelts full of hair, and he called him Esav. Lashon, he's already asui, he's already made, he came out complete. V'achrichin yatsa achiv, Yaakov came out and holding on to Akev Esav, and he called him Yaakov al Shem the Akev. Vayigdalu na'arim, they started growing. Rashi tells us as long as they were young, nobody had to notice too much, so no one really noticed. But when Vayigdalu na'arim, then Esav ish yedei tzayid, everyone started realizing that Esav was ish tzayid. Literally means a hunter. Ish sadeh, a field man. Okay? Yaakov ish tam, Yaakov is a simple person. Simple is the wrong word. Is more sincere and timid, straightforward. Yeshiv Ahalim sitting in the tents, and the pasuk tells us that have Yitzchak as Esav. Yitzchak loved Esav, ki tzayid befiv, for a reason, because he liked gain, because Esav had a chushin, like we said, hunting. V'Rivka have says Yaakov. Okay, interesting description. Each one took a liking to a different one, and there's a reason that Yaakov has Kitzayid Befiv. By Yazid Yaakov Nazid, Yaakov one day was making lentil soup, as Rashi is going to point out. This was not a simple soup. This was avelus for the grandfather, for Avram. Yeah, sicher. Everything is meduyik in Chazal. So Yaakov made lentil soup, and Esav came from the field who oyif. Ayif Beretzicha. Rashi says he's hot, tired from Harginim. Okay. Oh, I want to say that Rashi doesn't fit things in that don't say if he doesn't need to. Rashi, in this story, Mamish Rashi loads on in Yanim of the future and of the past. We'll soon see Rashi has a whole shakla of attire between Yaakov and Esav. So the kids say Esav's coming home, as Rashi translated, from Retzicha. Vayomer Esav el Yaakov, Esav turns to Yaakov and says, Haliteni, no, Haliteni is a lashon of like, pour it in. Mina Odem Azeh, from this red thing, which is referring to this lentil soup, Ki Ayif Anochi, because I'm very tired. Al Kain Kadashmoy Edom. For this, his name was called Edom, from there on. Zokt Rashi, he explains, Haliteni, I'm going to open my mouth, you just pour it in. Odem Adashim Adumais. Good. Here Rashi says it was Avelos. And Vayomer Yaakov Michro Kayemes Pcheras Chali. Please sell me your Pchera today. Zokt Esav, Vayomer Esav Hine Heilich Lamos. I'm about to die. V'Lamos Ali Pchera. Which mamish, you read Pshuta Shal Mikra. I'm about to die. I'm not going to make it, right? Rashi has a whole different story here, but that's the Pashta Pshat. Vayomer Yaakov Hishavali, swear to me Kayoim, Vayishavaloi, and he swore to him. Vayimkars Pcherasol Yaakov, and he sold his Pchera to Yaakov. Yaakov nasan la'esav lechem and azid adashim. At that point, he gave him bread and azid adashim. Vayochel vayesht. He ate and he drank. Vayakom got up. Vayelch he left. Vayivaz esav as a pchera, and he kicked back. Said, "I don't need the pchera." So let me ask a few questions here that I pashed. Ich verstehe nicht Rashi. I verstehe nicht Rashi's pshat. We all understand what Rashi is saying, but if Rashi is trying to give a ben chamish l'mikra to understand the storyline of what's going on here, it's very schwer. Rashi explains the mashal. Let me ask you a question. And I could start from questions on Rashi. I could start from the questions on the story itself. Let's start from Rashi himself. Rashi says, Hine hoylech lamos. Rashi doesn't say kipshutai. That Asa says I'm about to die. Rashi gives an explanation. He says, Hine hoylech lamos, what's about to die? The pchera is about to die. Why? Because the pchera is ultimately going to be taken away from the pcherim. It's going to be given to the koyanim. First, the beginning of Rashi, va'oid, Amar Esav. In addition to this, it shows if it's two different details in Rashi, or this is a continuation. Rashi says another detail. Esav turned to Yaakov and asked, Ma tiba shel avodah zu? What's the story with this avodah? Avodas pcheirim in the base of English. Amalei kama azharas va'inchim misses la tluyim ba. You have no clue how many misses you could get hit with and slapped with lavim because of this kohuna. Hey mizia, he brings examples. Yain preirosh amar ani. So this Asa responded, ani halach lamos al yada. This is what's going to kill me ultimately. I'm going to get misa through this. Im kein machafetz liba. What do I need this for? So first of all, why didn't Rashi teach kipshuta? Hine halach lamos. I'm about to die, and I'm mamish. Why
would he be about to die though?
Because if you learn the pashta pshat vani oyef, it's not stam. A person's tired and he comes in and he says, Haliteni, I can't move, just pour it in. Pshuta shal mikra.
He's 15 here. Why would he be about to die?
He was a good question. But the Metzius is, I'm saying, as I state, Doirish Hezber, why Rashi would be, how is he going to be miyashiv in Pshutai that the Pchera is Hailach Lamos?
That's very fair. But I'm saying, Parsha, I don't think there's anything. I mean, life is short. I'm going to die eventually.
I hear. No. The Lashon is Ani Oyef. It sounds, he says twice. Good. The way he says Haliteni Nom and Adam Azeh, just pour it in because Ani Oyef Anoichi is one question. Oh, good. It's a good question. What Rashi is loading onto these words is Givaldic. The first part of Rashi is that the Pcheiru is going to die. The second part of Rashi sounds like Hinni hoylech lamos, because of B'choira I'm going to die, and that you have to put in this whole shackle of Ataria. So I want to ask you a question. What Yaakov is doing, I'll tell you why Rashi. Svara. Why is Rashi Mukhrach to explain that Oyef Anoichi is from Retzicha, and Hinni Hoylech Lamos is not Kipshutoi? Because otherwise, what Yaakov is doing is called extortion. What's going on over here? He's coming in, he's saying, Oyef Anoichi Hinni Hoylech Lamos. It's a good question, 15-year-old, but that's the Pashta Pshat. And Yaakov says, one second, can you sell me your B'choira? What is that supposed to mean, B'chlal? V'oid, think for a second. Let's accept Rashi's beer, okay? Obviously we're accepting Rashi's beer, but I'm saying, let's take Rashi. Let's go with Rashi for a second. I'm dying, can you give me soup? No, 1 second, let's deal with the B'choira. Let me tell you even more than that. L'shitas Rashi, fragich there. You hear Mendel? L'shitas Rashi, fragich there Akasha. If someone comes to you and says, I have a neches, I'm going to be a kohen, I have a bracha, it makes sense for Yaakov to push him over the edge and say, what do you need it for? It's Visha Merin there. You're going to die from this. Love him, the darfstis. Is this what is this, B'chlal?
You're cheating a person in business, you're not being honest.
Yaakov versteht doch the Maila. And Esav, he sees doch what type of person he is.
Yaakov's whole life was Esav. Yaakov means cheater.
It doesn't go in line with Ishtam. It's Visha Merin there, but I know, I hear what you're saying.
For the things we do know about Yaakov, it's not...
Right.
He made himself like a simple person. He cheated every single second.
You're saying that by Yaakvein is that Pamayim is the way Esav teaches it. Rashi teaches Yaakov. Huh?
It was originally meant to heal.
Yeah, but Yaakov also means cheated.
That's what Esau figured out after he...
Figured out way down the line.
Yeah.
But the emes is Al-Tayyid.
He's in Kolel. The government's paying him to learn.
Exactly. Pasnish for a Yid. You hear Simcha? Oh, Simcha. We double Simcha. Listen to this, Simcha. Esav, you hear? Join us. Esav is tired. And he's coming in. Yaakov tells him a whole explanation why it's Pashut not worth it. Either he lets him in on the future, that this is not really going to last, and it's going to go to Koyanim. Don't hang on to this B'choira. Or he tells him, it's not worth it for you. There's Lavim and there's Missus. And he's convincing him, Pashut, to sell him this B'choira.
What does selling B'choira even mean?
Oh, Givaldik Geshayla.
Like selling Gan Eden and selling...
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Well, 1 second. It's good. That's a good Teshayla. But more than that, ich frag dir, a Yid a Yerushalayim.
For him after the B'choira is going away long after Esau is dead. What does he think?
And Yaakov did also.
Yeah. What do you mean it's going to go away? Not in his lifetime. Like, well...
A Yid a Yerushalayim, a from a Yid. Someone comes over to you, you push him down, it's not a ger. We're talking about a holiday. Esau was a mumar. He Pashut is telling him, don't do it. It's not worth it for you. Just sell. And then Vayivas is a B'choira. The Torah is speaking bignusay. That he didn't care for the B'choira. What are you talking about? Yaakov just worked on this for a half an hour. He told him, it's not even going to last by you, and it's only going to cause you problems. And then when Esav kicks back and says, who needs the B'choira? Vayivas Esav is a B'choira. Now let me ask you another shaila. Okay, so this is one sugya. Definitely understand. What does it mean b'chlal to sell? If you look at the words over here, it's a meiredik. Yaakov says,
Where are we?
we're pasuk per chafei pasuk lamed. Lamed aleph. Hold it. Vayomer Yaakov michro kayom charas chali. When he comes and says, I'm mamish hungry, give me, it's like that, please sell it to me like daylight. Michro kayom charas chali. Vayomer Esav, what's Yaakov's response? Vayomer Yaakov hishav ali kayom. Swear to me, vayishav aloi, and he swore to him, and then vayimkers b'charas ali Yaakov. What was this shavu in the middle? He swore that he's gonna sell it, and then he sold it. Now, v'hoy, if we're talking about real estate, you want to strengthen the mechira because there was no deed over here. But it's ruchnistic entity that he's selling. He's selling.
How do you make a start for this?
Who needs a star? Klap Eshmaya Galya that he gave up the. What is he swearing on exactly? Bosh Shverta. Ah, yeah, exactly. What is it?
Even if that Asa would have sworn it, or his mitzvah would have came down, would have Asa not have been declared? Could you sell you declare?
That's a great question.
Could I sell you my mitzvahs?
Ah, I have a beard. If someone has a better beer, I'm mavata my whole beer. But I still want. But I want to tell you, as a half a minute from Torah, it's good. It's a starke shaila, you should know. What was this shvua in the middle? What was this shvua? And what was this? And then afterwards, okay. And afterwards, vayimkar b'cheros Yaakov, and then he gave him to eat. So what's Yaakov doing and what's Esav doing? So something is going on here. And Befrati, it's a Rashi. I want to ask us another question. This bothered me as a child. Years ago this bothered me. It says, Esav came in and saw red soup, red lentil soup. He said, and the Torah tells us from then on he was called Edom. Who gave him the name Edom? Yaakov decided, this became his name. Because he was tired and he wanted soup.
The talk of the town. This loser guy got blackmailed by his brother, extorted by his brother.
Right.
Over some
He was
bad soup.
extorted. Oh, dude. What's the Havana? Because he wanted red soup. So from then on he was called Edom.
You're going to ask, I never saw this.
I've seen how.
No, there are. There's.
I've seen.
Buduk. Yeah.
I've seen.
Today's is a different color.
I've seen 15-year-olds. Checks out. I'm saying this is,
Ah?
You got the nickname. Checks out.
You get weird nicknames when you're 15.
Yeah.
Oh.
Checks out. This is not
Good,
bothering
good.
me.
The problem with that is that Yaakov gave him the nickname.
Yeah.
It's this shot the people in the street stuck to him a name. It was a good catch. It says Al Cain. The Torah says for this reason, Kadosh Moy Edom. The Torah gave him a name Edom. In where pasuk was. It's right. That's earlier on. Yeah. Halatein Adam Lamed.
That's the narrator saying. The Eberster saying.
Yeah.
Whatever. The Eberster is narrating that.
Halatein Adam Azeh. Kiyevna Al Cain Kadosh Moy Edom. It doesn't even say who. It's mamish like. It's. But I'm saying it's like Torah. It was Angenom and his name became Edom. What was so significant about the red soup, though? So I want to tell you a thought. I'm going to share a thought, and I would love to hear any. First of all, Zerdingen is Torah. I would love to hear, and if there's any better tirutzim, my mamash be mekabel. What was Yitzchak's problem? The Torah describes Ish Tam Yeshiv Halim, and Yaakov is Ish Tam Yeshiv Halim, and Esav is Ish Yedei outside Ish Sadeh. Rashi says Ish Sadeh is a mamash a nachos. He's a man, a wild paradam. Yishmael, when the Torah wants to give a name to somebody, the Torah gets a chanetza. I mean, Yishmael says who Yadkol paradam, is Yadkol. His hand is a hand in every problem, There, Tzayid Ish Sadeh. And it's a peladik thing that Yitzchak didn't. It's not because of his blindness. So I'll tell you a svara, okay? That I asked the Shiloh before, for those who remember, that when he was born, it says that Zmoini, Rashi makes a statement. Simon the shape of Daman. What's Rashi saying? He said Zmoini?
Otherwise, why mention it?
Because that was the Metzias, because he was a ginger.
What color were his eyes?
Good to Shiloh, but I'm saying Rashi doesn't have to. Okay, I hear.
So it's not from that he's called Edom.
Right,
From
you would
his
think
red
it's
hair.
You would think it's from the hair, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Givaldige Shiloh.
Yeah.
Should have been from the her. Married from them. It says that his name was what? His name was Esav because he was Asui already. He came out full of hair. So I want to tell you, I thought Sizeta is the Argashas Hamilim sounds as that Yitzchak is looking at Yaakov and Esav, and he sees someone over here is going to be carrying on Avram's chain. and he's going to have a getlacha hatzlacha on spreading the monotheism, spreading the Amuna and the Eibishter, and he's going to stand me'ever echad, and the whole world will stand on the other side, and he's going to have. So he's looking at Beide Kinder. One of them was born full, mamish ready to run. He's kula kadera seyar, so much so that he was already tichtig that Yaakov named him Esav. Meloshin Asui. He's done. He's prepared. Oh, you came just in time. Here, Yaakov named Esav Asui because he's looking at him and he sees the guy is ready to go. And then Kukta of Yaakov, and he's wearing training wheels. Yaakov is as passing. He went to learn. Shiva Shem Be'ever. Now you'll tell me 1 second, but he's learning Torah. It's true, but Esav was asking Shilas about Maaser and Melech. Esav was a tzir of Beis Yitzchak. He was not a to Yitzchak. So the Pashta Svara Nisanes, that which one would Yitzchak say is the one that's going to be the one that the Eibishter chose to continue to carry the torch, to continue the chain, is Esav. He has a ruchnistik atzlacha. The guy's already running ahead, and the pashta pshat of ish yedei tzayid ish sada is he's already, while Yaakov's still figuring things out, he's already running his life. He's already making. What do they do for a parnasa? He's mamish catching animals, and he's feeding a family. He's feeding his father, and he could have hides and all zachem was medar.
He's having a tzlacha.
He's having a tzlacha, and Yaakov is sitting. Ishtam yeshav. It doesn't say that Yaakov knew more than Esav. Esav was sich mafalfel gewen with Yitzchak. Epis dort given, right? He believed him. So Yaakov didn't feel a need. Now what I'm about to say steht nicht. Yaakov didn't feel a need to be ma'oyer his father, didn't feel a need to alert his father that you're betting on the wrong horse. Because that's pasha nicht where he's up to. He's a retzeach. He didn't see a need. Maybe Lav Dafka I'm the one. Esav is a ish tzayid. I don't know if his ritzchas were public. Vos mitamol over here ki oyef anoichi. Rashi says, why is he tired? He brings a tzushta from a different pasuk. He was a retzeach. I want to share with you. That day that he came, as Rashi explains, Nazid was a special day. That was the Avelus of Avram Avinu. Now, mind you, who vertavegelekt Avram Avinu? It's because of Esav. Yaakov was supposed to live another 5 years. He passed away early because of Esav. Now, does it mean Esav's a Retzeach? Doesn't mean he's a Retzeach. Doesn't mean he's a Retzeach. He's doing his thing, and there's an outcome. But when the Avelus is happening, to come in and to disregard the whole thing, and to say,
I'm about to die.
The carelessness about life that you just spent, merely you're doing your thing, like Heinz Taga, a boy, a teenager, he's doing it, they don't mean to be mazik. There's no teenager trying to do his thing, and other people around him are mamish losing years of life. He's doing his life, I make this left. But to disregard while you mamish just slashed Avram Avinu's life, to come into the Avelos and disregard the whole story, Yaakov all of a sudden noticed that you should know this Adam that he's asking for it's true, he's running quickly. Now we see where it's heading. The Admoini that he started off with, that was just a simon, here is where it's playing out. It sounds similar. The way he came in now to ask for this soup on a day that he pasha because of him, Yaakov just lost his life. Abraham just lost his life. This disregard, it's not just a mistake he's making now. Yitzchak is correct. He's running very quickly, and we see the future now. You should know that Admoini that was a simon doesn't mean a person's a retzach. Every Jew is a retzach. But when you see the years playing out, and now he says it's not just your day outside. We're running in a fast forward, and now you already see that the Admoini is the And that's why the Adam Hazeh is a big deal. This Adam Hazeh is a fulfillment of the previous. And that's why Rashi says, you should know this Oyif is not the Oyif. It's Oyif of Ritzicha. Doesn't mean that he's now Ritzeach. This Oyif is the siman of what's going on here. And this siman, this Adam that he's asking for in the soup, is really a fulfillment of a siman that happened before, because Yitzchak is right. It's playing in fast forward. And therefore Yaakov said, 1 second. If he's playing, if he's shaykh this, the kahuna will not end up by somebody that's a Ritzeach. Kain is not allowed to be Mishamish if he's a Ritzeach. And that's why Ulei Yesh Loimar, Yaakov said, swear to me. What's this swearing about? What's that from Shverin? It's all a ruchnistic deal. To sell Pchayra is one big. It's all ruchnistic zachen.
You're on the same page. You're not.
Right. I'm saying, and the Eibishter knows if it clicked or didn't. He's swearing that. Yaakov wanted to see, is he sure about this, that he will never care about this? When a person swears, means he's not pshat. Under the rest, I'm giving you my Pchayra. Okay, I caught him in a weak moment. That's what it is. When a person swears, it's not about now. You don't care. That's where Rashi took.
Doesn't care later.
I'm not gonna care. That's where Rashi took that there was this whole discussion about the future. What's that? Pshat is he ever gonna care? The second he realized Vaishav aloi, so he said, "Hey, Bazai, I could already buy the Pchayra." They're never gonna take it. He's never gonna be a Pchayra. This pshat, I'm pushing him off a fence that he's not gonna. This pshat, I'm taking away something that a yid, a mamish, I'm making him a mumar. The person is a gun. He doesn't care for the Pchayra, and then that means that he's the Yishavi doesn't care for the Pchayra. This is a representation of the fact that the Ritzicha, it's never going to end up by him. If he would care, he wouldn't so Ulei Yesh Loimar, that's first of all, that's the Shvuah, and that's why the Vehu Oyev comes after V'yazid Yaakov Nezid V'yav Esim and Asad Vehu Oyev. Rashi decides to put it in. That's the pshat of the Rashi. Why, like Simcha asked, why does the Torah say Admoini Kula? It doesn't say other simanim of how he looked, because part of his name Esav, which represents his characteristic that he's mamish running ahead. He's asui, and his hair is already full in. That's what Yaakov was inspired about. And that's what Yaakov was saying, this guy is Tichtiger. So they said, 1 second, there's one detail here, that he's red. And this we need to see, that's what Rashi says, it's a simon. The Adam that happened later, 15 years later, reference back. We see Taka, it's running quickly, and that's where it's heading, because of his, because of the Ritzicha Shabai. There's more Rashis here. But I think Ulei Yesh Loimar, that's pshat what Yaakov wanted. I mean, there's Medrash Agada, there's Komin Zach, and Rashi brings also that Yaakov was taka first, like a Shreferes, but doesn't work in Din. Oh, Shkoyach. Maskama. I'm still open to other biyonim. Yeah.
Yaakov and Esav. Esav is a wild one. Let's call it.
Yeah.
The wild one, the more progressive, is the one that can continue. But a generation back, was Yitzchak and Shmuel. Shmuel was the one reason Yitzchak was a quiet one. Avraham and Lot. Avraham was a quiet one. Lot was a troublemaker. Each time it was a quieter one.
Right. Saying what before I take a trap.
Yeah.
Now I want to tell you. So usually the Seder of the Shir is you try to go through a few Rashis, trying to understand the Mahalach in the story. And then
is it because he had red hair, or that he was red and had a lot of hair?
Rashi says Sumik. I mean, the Targum says Smuk Kulei. Kichlon the same.
It's the same translation of the Pasuk. What goes on what?
Right.
Look at the chop. There's a carton on it.
Rashi learns that the Moini is like.
He's red. I don't know. I think he was just like a red. He was like a redneck. He was just very red.
It was like a redneck.
Yeah. Like he's just red. His whole body, he looked like a devil baby. He was just very red. And also, don't even know if he
Ken
was red.
Zayin.
I don't even know if he had red hair. He was just covered in hair. Also.
Right. Could be. It's definitely Rashi uses lashon simon. It was a simon.
Yeah.
It was a simon. It says about David Malchachet he was an advan.
It says about him that he had red hair. What does it say?
It sounds more legit
That's
when you
all
throw in a few Yiddish words, so I believe you.
Okay. I want to share a beautiful vart. This actually it's a Chassidish Maisa. I didn't have it was a little last minute that we decided to change the time of this year, but I have a Zav Bart. That's a Chassidish Maisa also. It's Kafte V'Ferach. There's a Chassid. His name was Ramatl Kozliner. Ramatl Kozliner was Ramke Kozliner's father. Chaim Zalman Kozliner. Not long ago he passed away. Zion. Yeah, there's Shri. In Russia, he was a big.
From the old guard.
From the old. Yeah, I'm saying he was from the Finland. So Ramendel Kozliner, and so Remendel was speared from Russia with international pressure because his family was already in London and they brought it up and it was separating families. The kids somehow it came up between it's fascinating. I think the Prime Minister of the UK, talking to the Russian president, and Mendel's name was on a list. And Mendel was taken out and told he has to stay near a border city where he's going to fly out from. It's in Chavavda. And Mendel, you should know, was a big balachrayis. Mendel was like the koch level between the Chassidim and Samarkand, where the Chassidim were. Mendel was from the younger ones that was giving a lot of koyach. And now all of a sudden, the spotlight was on him heavy because there's international pressure about him, and he's leaving. And they moved him to there. And Mendel's thinking to himself, now I'm leaving Russia. What's with Zayim at everybody? It's gonna be. So Mendel called his chaver, Matel Kozliner, told him, I want to bring with you before I leave. Wanted to be mechazik him, wanted to give him, Matel Kozliner, like every person that's a balachrayis, wasn't planning to, Farbringen is a grace zach, but to go Farbringen with Mendel when the spotlight was on here, the Farbringen has to be worth my whole family, and they were checking anyone that Mendel was dealing with would pay for it afterwards. So the Matel found a way to send back a message that I'm not coming. So the Mendel sent back a message that if you don't come, I'm going to come to you, which would be much worse because Mendel was told not to leave. He was told to be in a specific place, and Matel knew that Mendel was not joking. It was negiat him that they should bring together before they leave. So he came. Like a tato, he came. And therefore bringing. And the Mendel's being mechazik him. The Mendel is telling him that, don't worry, I'm not leaving you alone here. There's many of the Rebbes mentioned here. Not leaving you after Vaser. And he started listing names of people. And if you add the names that he should have mentioned, he was mentioning the wrong names. Which means he wasn't mentioning the Elter Chassidim, the big hitters. Relatively, he was saying names of younger Chassidim, that face Chamo. I'm making this up, I don't know what he said, he didn't say. But the younger guys that were pulling together the tricks, He wasn't mentioning the Größer Chassidim. Yeah. So Ramatel wasn't having it b'chlal. It was an emes thing. He wasn't just smiling along. This was a serious deal. So Ramatel told him precisely. He was very down, and he told him precisely, "This is who you're leaving me with."
It's not as authentic when you do it in Hebrew. The Yiddish is much better.
So the Mendel tells him, "I'll tell you whose names I mentioned." So he prefaces and tells him like this: if you ask a child in Cheder, who's a Rasha? Who's a Rasha? Every child in Cheder will tell you, in Torah, Esav HaRasha. Esav's a Rasha. Rasha Marosha. In Pshuta Shel Mikra, you don't find him doing anything wrong. There's many midrashim. He killed a dog, wanted to give it to his father. So there are many zachem. He was a Ritzea. Whatever I'm saying, he went out, he couldn't find a kosher animal, he was going to give him something else. But in Pshuta Shel Mikra, You don't find it's größer Rishas. You don't find such
How
Rishas.
is it Rasha?
Ah, yeah. Oh, there are many good. I'm saying there. Sadly, there are many good examples. I'm saying Asa doesn't hit the radar. Asa, man, I heard. It reminds me. I was in Eretz Yisrael once, and it's the lady.
Aside from trying to kill his brother.
Ah,
Aside from trying to kill his brother.
Did he really
later
kill
on, but I'm
him?
saying he took a
Right.
brachas. He took his
Did
father's
he-
brachas
did
on
he
his
really kill
deathbed.
him? He kissed him from the.
He
shot.
impersonated him, and he tried to.
The Yaakov had a
What is it called? Identity for what is it?
Yeah,
Identity
identity
fraud. I mean, okay, but that's later on. Esav Harasha. But everyone knows Esav Harasha. So Remendel tells him like this. You should know Pshutish Shal Mikra. The
We're gonna
only
say a mass about you in Israel with a lady.
punkt good. Punkt. The lady came over to me. She mamish was tzehitz. It was on Mitzrayim. She told me she was mamish to tresel from what Chazal did to Esav in shaming him. And she named her child Esav. She told me it's wrong that they.
I thought Carbuena was that.
Right, yeah. You
Wow.
know, she ranked high. She said, I tachin that they make him sound. He was a good brother. He was making a living. You know, Mamish Pshutish Shal Mikra. Ah, Afazav. Yeah, right. That's when a lady tracht sich als a Talmud Chacham. It's a complicated thing. So, so he says. So Remendel says you should know the only thing you find them doing wrong in Pshutish Shal Mikra is selling the responsibility of an older brother for a Nizid Adashim. You're an achrayus. You're the older brother here. He was ready to sell his responsibility as an older brother for a lentil soup. You should know, says Remendel to him, the people I'm mentioning are people that take achrayus. See a problem and make it their own business. Doesn't the Rebbe's mention? People that see a problem and don't say, okay, we'll kvetch about it. So someone's gonna deal with it. I'll say, I'll pass it on to. Okay, record it. I'll pass it on to someone else. Okay. Someone that sees a problem. I mean, he's the biggest chassid. Sees it, he takes achrayus. That was Remendel's word. Okay, the Rebbe mentions and the was then a problem and decided Remendel put the first. That's what he told the Matel. So that's a little bit on the Parsha. One specific part. The Grace of Zachem. I'll share a sikha of the Rebbe. Short sikha. It's an interesting sikha. It says Ve'ela told us. I'll finish with this. It says Ve'ela told us Yitzchak ben Avram. Avram heard this Yitzchak. So we mentioned before the Pashto Pshat is Ela told us Yitzchak ben Avram. This is the Yaakov and Esav. We're going to talk about their birth. And then it says Avram Ha'iludis Yitzchak. This was made possible by the fact that Avram, having such a name, Ha'iludis Yitzchak, was able to make way because the Eibishter added a hey to his name. But Rashi brings another pshat. Davar acher. Why did Eibishter have to say it? Because Sarah was not pregnant throughout all the years with Avram, and all of a sudden she was with Avimelech, and voila, she's pregnant. So Leitzani Hadar said, "Ma'avimelech nesabra Sarah." She came from him. So the Eibishter made them so similar that Avram Ha'iludis Yitzchak is the Eidus that everyone was saying, as I sagt Rashi. That Yitzchak ben Avram, and then everybody said Eidus that Avram Ha'iludis Yitzchak. From just looking at them, looking at Yitzchak, they saw that Avram's face. Good. So the Rebbe asks it's an interesting question. If the Eibishter wanted them to be similar, could they to negate the Havamina that... First of all, this all has to go. By saying it's also getting cold. Yeah, please.
Do I have to buy it for a birthright?
They're too simple.
Yes.
Yeah.
You keep mixing me up. You keep
Right.
thinking I'm saying
No,
things.
no,
It's
no,
not
no,
me.
no.
I was getting
It's
very
not-
confused for a
Neither of you could be mixed up with other people.
There's very few simchas out there.
Right? And
we all
they're
have
unique.
characteristics.
That's
very
true.
unique characteristics.
You should meet the other stuff.
I was very confused. I was very, very confused. I felt embarrassed. She
Oh.
kept saying, "Oh, Simcha said this, Simcha said that." I'm like, I didn't say any of that. I mean, I'll take credit for it, but it wasn't me.
Simcha Weinstein,
Also,
Simcha Levenberg, a lot of unique Simcha.
unique characters, unique chassidim. So, the Rebbe asked an interesting question. The Eibishter wanted to make that Avram everyone should be able to be made. Everyone should testify that that Yitzchak is ben Avram. So he made them look similar. Why did the Eibishter make Yitzchak look like Avraham, and not Avram look like Yitzchak? What's the pshat? Avram is chesed. Chesed is a calm, nice, giving face, loving face. And Yitzchak is Gvura, so stern, reserved. Yitzchak is Gvura, Pachad Yitzchak. And if the Eibishter wants them both similar, the Eibishter could have lechatchila prevented it by making Avram look stern. Why did it end up? And the characteristics of the Avos, they impact the Banim, the Deiris. So why did the Eibishter choose? Stop. Why did he had to just make them similar? Why did he choose that Yitzchak should look like Avram and not set up a circumstance that Avram should look like Yitzchak? Rabbi said, when in doubt, go with Chesed. Torah is telling you, it could go either way. Go with Chesed. Whenever it could go either way, turn to the right. Turn to the right. Today is the day. It's not today. We're making the shiur early, so tomorrow I committed before we started that I'm going to bring in Westchester. So
very pre-booked. Very pre-booked.
I'm not here for so long.
Does this mean you're going to Westchester? The Bachram are coming here.
That's right, now I'm going to go. That's right. So we have to if I bring, but I want to share one thing before about Rosh Chodesh Kislev. It's not mamash minyan shir. You should know that Rosh Chodesh Kislev is not a farbringen, it's a su'udah. Each one of us has to give shevach v'idah. Understand? A farbringen is a time to be mechazik. Then there's a su'udah saidah. Su'udah saidah is like Yutas Kislev. Rosh Chodesh Kislev is in line with the Yutas Kislev of our dar. When Yidden celebrated the Alter Rebbe was in hands of the Goyim, and couldn't have made it out. And now we were given a Rebbe. This was by Chassidim, was like over the top. They didn't make farbringens. They made su'udas Yutas Kislev. It was a su'udah. You should know by Chassidim this was very bakpada. They would tell a story. There was like a whole decorum. A farbringen, there's some stuttering, but it's not heavy, you know.
It doesn't have to go for
There's many ways of farbringen to look.
I'm going to
say this on record, but when a person is standing with a mic and emceeing a farbringen, it's a little shayla on the whole thing, right? You do as she does.
Unless it's 770.
Unless the MC takes a lot of l'chaim before it. I try, you know. But a su'udah is a different ball game. It's very formal. It's formal because we're making a achraza. We have to stop and thank the Eibishter. You know, Isaac Hamler.
It's specifically a haidah.
This is what I want to say because I see signs, people saying it's going to be a farbringen. It's a su'udah. We thank the Eibishter. Once we're celebrating, so bekal alenu, we want to share thanks to the Eibishter and celebrate together. But the first and foremost, wissen that it's a time to stop and thank the Eibishter. There's a famous part of Rabbi Zekamla, I think, about Yutas Kislev, that's kedai to mention in this regard as well, that he said, who would lose out? You know, at the end of the day, I'm not getting through the Shakta B'tai, he said, La Hashem HaYeshua. Who's the one that needs to celebrate? The Eibishter has to celebrate. Now, the Eibishter it's Vayakri, that the Eibishter is I need to look again the Lashon of Rabbi Zekamla. But the Nekuda is, that Rosh Chodesh Kislev, he would say L'chaim Eibishter. Rabbi Zekamla wasn't a pull your captain. No, not at all.
Wasn't a tiger or something, the real deal.
Mach nicht up. And he got Hashem HaYeshua. You should know that Rosh Chodesh Kislev is in line with Yutas Kislev. It's Yutas Kislev of our generation. And Rosh Chodesh Kislev is a day that we have to say Hashem HaYeshua. Think about the world without Rosh Chodesh Kislev. Without us having the Rebbe from Tafshin Lamed Ches, what are we talking about? Anyways, so l'chaim. Everybody should have a talk in the Su'udah, the Farbringen, and we'll Farbring zusammen.
Oh, man.
Yeah.